The meeting was supposed to end at 10, so maybe around 9:45. Half of us started getting Bruin alerts on our cell phones about some kind of police activity.
A tweet from the UCLA newsroom was sent out to students issuing a campus-wide lockdown just after 10 a.m. as police investigated the shooting in an engineering lab. Students were urged to go to a secure location and deny entry immediately as LAPD and SWAT teams searched for the gunman, who was reportedly a white male wearing a black jacket and black pants.
We interrupt your programming for some breaking news. You're looking live at UCLA, where we are hearing reports of a shooting. A UCLA Bruin alert went out that there was a shooting at Engineering 4. That's a building near parking structure 9. It said in the UCLA Bruin alert, I'll just quote it, "Shooting at Engineering 4, go to secure location and deny entry, lockdown now."
Mark Kono is overhead in Sky 5. Mark, what else are you hearing?
Jess and Frank, just give me a moment here. You know what? Okay, we are just about mid-campus here at UCLA, Sky 5 HD. First overhead with this breaking news. On the left, you have the Henry Samueli School of Engineering. Just to the right, parking structure 9. The report came out about 20 to 30 minutes ago about a possible shooting on campus. Now, initial reports have the shooting as 2 people that may have been struck by gunfire here, and that report was indicative that the shots may have occurred somewhere in the parking structure on the right. Now, as we got on scene just a couple of minutes ago, we did see a team of firefighters with a gurney entering the engineering building on the left, and so that we surmise means that the shots fired might have in fact happened in the engineering building. Guys, I'm going to have to give it back to you for just a moment. The police helicopter's coming in.
LAPD is responding to reports of 2 victims down and an active shooter in or near the engineering building. That, according to an LAPD officer.
We're going to bring that picture back as soon as we can, but as we saw, there are SWAT officers, guns drawn, in the full gear.
No? Did anyone hear anything or see anything strange? Or okay.
We just heard you guys coming in.
Okay.
Freaked out.
Yeah, just.
Guys, we got a lot of people coming out with their arms up. A lot of people coming out with their arms up. You want to get the camera on this, folks. Hey, you in the studio, we got a lot of folks that are on their knees. You need to get the camera. You need to get this live. Can you hear me in the studio? You need it. Are you showing this live, folks?
Kevin, how long were you in there? What was happening while you were in there?
We were there since 10 in the morning, and then it's been almost 2 hours, and we were locked in the bathroom, 7th floor bolter, and we just stay put and stay down. That's all we did.
I was in math, and we got the message, and we all just ran as a group up, and we tried to find a room to lock ourselves in. We were in the bathroom, so I heard a couple pops outside a window, but we didn't see anything, and we didn't move out of the bathroom until the officers came. I mean, we were on the 7th floor, so we saw the news on Twitter, and we were just waiting. And then when the officers came, we had to double check it was really officers and not the shooter pretending to be an officer.
Are they from Southern California? Did you get in contact with them?
Yes, I just texted them right before we came out of the building, and then I just want to tell you I'm safe, and then hope everybody else is safe too.
Sorry, we need to go. Come this way.
Bueno, ya se los están llevando justamente, les digo, este es un operativo tan importante que tienen que mantener la seguridad incluso también de las personas.
Got you guys. Hey guys, I know you have some witnesses here.
Class, which is in a place called Bolter, which is right next to the engineering building, and it said like shooter, and then we just bolted out of there, and ran up to the 7th floor of one of the buildings, and then hid in the bathroom for like an hour and a half, and we tied the bathroom hinges, the door hinges, with belts, to keep the door closed because there's no locks.
Apparently, she saw the guy in Bolter. She was getting coffee, and she saw the guy, and she just ran. She saw a bunch of people running, and she saw the guy, and she was so scared for her life or something, and then she just ran.
UCLA PD responded to a report of 3 shots fired. We don't know if there were more than that, but at least 3.
Matt is a student from Belgium, and if you can believe this, today is actually his very first day on the UCLA campus. When you got the tweet, when you found out what was going on, I saw you kind of frantically on your computer trying to get information. What are your thoughts as a first day student?
It's like, what the fuck is happening over here?
Alfredo Rivera received the notification.
At that time, I was just anger, and because you feel helpless, you kind of just wish you had a gun. There's really no place you can really be safe.
The second-year master's student wasn't unfamiliar to these types of alerts, having survived a school shooting only 3 years previous at Santa Monica College.
And I actually hear about it from America a lot, like campus shooting in America. That's the news that we get. So for me, it feels like, oh yeah, I'm in America. This was supposed to happen, actually.
We were initially at Denny's. We saw what was going on. We saw that there were shooters, and we have a couple of friends that live in the area, so we decided to come down here and try to get as much footage as we could, because the best footage reported is footage from, the people. And so we actually got caught up in the second call where they called us in for a barricade, where we were actually...
Wait, slow down, because people don't know what that means.
We know some of the students here. She has some personal friends, and so we saw it was happening live, and we saw the initial SWAT team basically, setting up to go infiltrate one of the buildings.
It seemed a bit surreal, and mostly I was just hoping that he wouldn't come into our building.
How were you all feeling?
I mean, it was a feeling of surreal, just watching the footage that you're talking about, seeing students that halls that we'd walk by every day for class, and seeing police walk by with assault rifles and seeing students lined up and being frisked. It was a feeling of surreal. And then immediately I called my parents. I was so lucky I was able to get a hold of both of them. They were in the room at the same time, and wow, for her to have to go through this more than anything, it was an awful feeling.
Danny, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you.
It will take time to cope and to overcome the sadness that has cloaked our campus. But we will do it, and we will do it together. Let there always be light.
At the end of the day, the Brood family is very strong, and we all stick together. Brew and strong.
I
remember going into his office and always seeing a picture of his family on his desk, and you know, that always stood out in my mind because it was front and center.
Just a hard-working, sincere, well-intentioned guy.
It's hard to even fathom it, to have your excuse me, to have your son grow up without a dad is rough. So I'm hoping that the community here could kind of rally around that.
It's one of those senseless things. It doesn't make sense. Every time you look at it, every angle you look at it, it just is so sad and doesn't make sense.
Hadn't seen Klug for at least a decade.
All the research that he did and the ways that he was learning about the heart so that he could help people, that there's a lot that's been lost there.
Just like 2 buildings across from where we had lockdown, you know, 2 people died.
Because gun violence needs to stop. We can end gun violence.
I was shocked, filled with anxiety, worried. I just didn't know what to do.
Christina's baby sister, Kendra Pizarro, a student at UCLA, sent her a text message while she was hiding underneath a desk. The UCLA shooting occurred a day before the 2nd annual National Gun Violence Awareness Day.
Tim, Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom is pushing for a gun control initiative that would require background checks for ammo sales and outlaw large capacity magazines.
Klug's friends have set up a GoFundMe account for his family. He was a father of 2 children and volunteered as a Little League coach.
Officers believe Sarkar may have killed her before driving in his 2003 Nissan Sentra to UCLA, loaded with ammo.
As police moved into Professor Klug's office, they also found in Sarkar's backpack a cryptic note asking someone to check on his cat.
3 people arrived at the home. When asked if they were connected to the UCLA suspected shooter, they didn't have much to say. The woman you see there in the blue shirt would not comment about the specific relationship, only saying there is a connection.
That gray Nissan Sentra, believed to have been driven by UCLA gunman Manuk Sarkar, was discovered around 2:30 this afternoon.